Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sunday Functioning Chat. Let's get started.
I ain't gonna have you there all on that day. I said, Rock, what's the matter with you, Rock? Don't you see I need you, Rock? Lord, 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 all on that day. So I run to the river, it was bleeding, I run to the sea. It was bleeding, I run to the sea. It was bleeding all on that day. So I run to the river. It was boiling, I run to the sea. It was boiling, I run to the sea. It was boiling all on that day. So I run to the Lord. Please hide me, Lord. Don't you see me praying?
Well, good day, everybody. Let's go ahead and bring our guest up. That would be Miss Stephanie. How are you today?
Oh, I'm hanging in there.
Good. Stephanie Herriott, large family diabetic cooking.
Yes.
I always screw that up. I always want to say diabetic, large family. Never mind. The correct way is down in the description box. I'll put it that way. How's that?
Yeah. I just didn't put my last name. I just put my first name. Everybody knows my last name.
Anyways, how are you today?
I'm good.
Just good?
Yeah. Ooh.
Sunday going okay?
Yeah, I had to get dinner together. Everybody wanted pork chops, so I got finished up the pork chops and had to fix the kids' lunch,
Right.
get the pork chops on. It was. That's all I can say is it was busy.
Give me just 1 second.
Sure.
I'll have Chris come get that. Sorry, had to help Mom with the door. So I thought today, because last week we had a conversation on here, we were going to reboot what we were calling the $40 pantry challenge to what's up with your pantry. That's what we're going to call it. And all of us come from different angles, different ways, different means of that process. Now, the two that are with me on that, Angela and Michelle, are not on here today, but it doesn't mean the conversation can't still happen. Okay.
Right.
And I thought you would be a good asset because you know what it is to do a budgeted pantry.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Before we get into that, though, I want to say hi to a bunch of friends of ours who happen to be sitting on the side. TJ, Teresa Jukiewicz, is in with us. Thank you for coming in. Dark Lord Menet, Rena LaRue, Nanny Tam, hello. Jamie's Country Living, thank you for coming in. Mr. Josh Skinner Farms is in with us. Thank you for coming in. Ashley's Allotment Adventures. Good evening from the UK, he said. Thank you for coming in.
Blue's in there.
Blue is in with us. Hello. Thank you. Both of them are up a little late, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Blue says she's on the phone, so she can't tag. So, hello. And then Sapphire Diamonds and Pearls is in with us. SDP Jewels, thank you for coming in. So, anyways, thank you everybody to come in. That is wonderful and it's great. Okay, so Milk and Honey Heritage Farms just popped in at the very end there. Hello, Heather. So here's what we're going to talk about.
Okay.
The main question is, if I've never done this before, how do I start a pantry? Okay. But I think the question needs to be a little bit more of what is a pantry? Because I think a lot of people don't understand that, or at least from my perspective. And I know me and you have talked. I know some others have the same opinion as I do. And I think it's only fair that we're on the same page in discussion. Okay.
Right.
So what I did was I put together a little video, and I want everybody to watch it. It's a minute and a half, very basic. There's a little music, so turn your music down once I stop talking so you're not blasted in the ears. And then we'll come back and talk about it. How's that sound?
Okay.
Okay, so here we go. Everybody's enjoying my music. No. All right. Some people might have questions. Some people may not understand. Some people may not agree. Okay. That being said, I do want to go ahead and bring this up so we can talk about it. Okay. And it's not so much the statement, but the statement does make a lot of sense to me. You have to be open-minded about what your pantry system is to make a better pantry system. Okay. So we'll go over them real quick. Okay. So cupboard was the first one I mentioned. The cupboard is whatever you have in your usable everyday use cupboard. It would be inclusive of your spice rack, you got 4 cans of vegetables here and 4 cans of this and 4 cans of that and a package of this, and all of it non-perishable 99% of the time, right?
Right.
But that's an everyday use pantry or cupboard, whichever you want to call it, because not everybody's going to define these the same way. And I get that. Again, this is my perspective, my approach. So,
right.
It's my point I'm trying to make is that my way of looking at it is not the answer. It's an answer. That's my point I'm trying to get to. Okay. Then you have your refrigerator. That's used on a daily basis. So that would technically fall into an everyday use kind of thing,
right.
But it's a separate thing for perishable items. Okay.
Right.
All right. Then you have the freezer, which is the third part of it. And freezer is inclusive of a separate freezer or the freezer you use above or below your refrigerator, depending on how your system is set up. Okay. Those two things together are your freezer component. Then you have short-term pantry. Those are things that you're going to use probably within a 6-month period, usually. Okay. And it's a constant rotation as well as staples. We'll call that everyday use staples. Okay. Then you have long-term pantry. Those are the items you're going to use anywhere from the 6 months to 18 months, depending on what we're talking about, because some things can go longer, some things can go shorter. It's just dependent on how it all goes. We don't know what that is yet for individuals, but there you go. Okay, here's the one that probably threw some people off. Appliance use, okay? What I'm referring to is your dehydrator, your freeze dryer if you have one, your mixer, your food processor, your whatever those things are that help you create a pantry item or a food storage of sorts. is part of your pantry because it's what you do to make that pantry actually work the way it should. Dark Lord Minute said canner. I agree with that 100%. I think that's part of that as well. Okay.
Right.
Would you agree with all that?
Yes, but see, to me that depends because not everybody has a freeze dryer. I don't have a freeze dryer and I don't have a dehydrator. I want one. And
but if you had them, would you include that in your pantry process though?
Yes, I would. Yes,
that's all I'm asking. I get that not everybody has it. I get that some people want it. The point is it would still be part of the pantry system because you're creating.
Because I thought what you were asking is it something that you use on a daily basis?
No, that's not what I was asking. So, and I'm glad you said it that way because I want people to understand what I'm saying.
Okay.
I look at a pantry as 6 pillars. Okay. Sorry, I can't add. Okay. Your cupboard, everyday use, is part of the pantry. Your refrigerator is part of the pantry. Your freezer, regardless of which you're using or how you're using, is part of it. You have short-term pantry, long-term pantry, and then your appliance use. All those items create your pantry system, and they work together to some degree.
Right.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. Here's another one that I didn't include that would fall into that, the garden. That is a place people get their pantry items from, theoretically. Okay. So I do agree with that. So all I'm asking is, would you agree that those components really make up an evolved pantry?
Yes.
Okay. And I had already said that, just throwing that out there.
Yes.
Because I think if you just say, okay, what's in my pantry, a separated room, a designated area, whether it's a cupboard that stands alone, or maybe it's one of the cupboards in your everyday cupboards,
We had to get rid of our chest freezer because we've noticed that with our chest freezer, the stuff that was on the bottom, we were never getting to.
And
it was going bad. So I got an upright freezer, and we have not had that issue.
One of the key things that I will throw out, if you're running it the way you should, now, again, just practice what I tell you, or practice what I preach, not what I do. Hello, Tiffany, Canadian Family Life. Thank you for coming in. I think what's important is rotation. And if you have to put on your freezer door or your refrigerator door, I've got X number of steaks, X number of roasts, X number of this, and you're adding more of the same in there, but you're not marking it off as going out, you need to improve the rotation part of it. Okay.
Right.
Your situation, because you bulk buy one time a month, theoretically, it does make it harder. And I get that.
It wasn't my thing was it wasn't going out faster than it was coming in.
Right. And then you evolve and see that, okay, there's part of one of the concerns with that is if you're incoming more than what's outgoing, at some time you're going to lose that space.
Right.
Because now you just have items sitting in there until they get
Well, then that's where I have my inventory.
Right.
I have a list of what's in my freezer, what's in my refrigerator, what's in my working pantry. So that way I know, okay, I have this much steak. I don't need steak this month. I have this much hamburger. I don't need a hamburger this month. So I can stock up on a different type of meat. So let's say I want to do chuck roasts. Chuck roasts are like $5.99 or something like that. I'll get like maybe 4 or 5 chuck roasts.
Right.
I'll cut those up into little pieces, and I can make, I can do beef tips and gravy.
Yep.
Cut them up, make stew, whatever.
Yep. Lavender Hippie Homesteads joined us. Thank you for coming in. So here's some of the things that are getting thrown out: first in, first out, and that's part of a rotation basis. Make a list, put it in a clear sheet, tape it to your freezer. You can wipe it off when you're done with it or when it needs to be changed.
Right. I see. I don't do that. I have a clipboard, but
Right.
that's a good idea to put it on my freezer.
Right.
And then when I come out, I can do the check mark system.
Right.
I have 5 check mark. That means now I have 4.
Right. Exactly. Then
So
it also helps you with inventory because you can do your inventory sheet. And when you get to
right,
the freezer part, then all you're having to do is go over to the freezer and say, okay, X, Y, and Z.
right.
You
I don't
know,
know whose idea that was, but that's an excellent idea, and I'm doing that.
that was Heather's Milk and Honey
Thank
Heritage
you,
Farm.
Heather.
Yep. And in the end of it, we can sit here and give all the ideas out. It really, really comes down to what you're willing to put yourself in to do, how you're willing to do it, how you want to do it,
Right,
and what means is available for you to do it.
right,
You know,
right,
everything we're talking about isn't going to be the perfect situation for everybody. Okay.
right,
But at least, just like with you, there's an idea that you now have that you might be able to utilize.
right.
So, and she says, "Yay, awesome." Okay, so we've also talked about there are different phases. Berdazzle just joined us. Thank you for coming in. Just because I get paid one way doesn't mean that Stephanie gets paid the same way.
Right,
Okay.
right.
So budgeting of your pantry,
Hmm.
filling in your pantry, or inventorying your pantry, or whatever term you want to use,
Hmm.
that may be different based on the way you're paid. Okay.
Right. Now, when I did my budgeting video, I talked about the 2 different types of income.
Right.
Uh, my daughter is on food stamps
Right.
because she is not allowed to work because she has seizures, and they consider her a risk. So no one will hire her. So I do the budgeting for the whole entire house.
Right.
But I'm on disability, so my income is different. So the types of food that I eat is different from what the house eats. So I budget for myself with my income, and I budget for her and the rest of the family,
Mm-hmm.
you know, with what she does. Now she gets I don't know exactly how much, but I did a thing where a family of 6, I'd say,
Mm-hmm.
makes $1,200 in food stamps.
Mm-hmm.
What you're going to do is you're going to divide that into 3. So you're going to spend $400 on meats, fresh fruits, vegetables, stuff like that. Then
Mm-hmm.
the next $400 is going to be on canned foods, pastas, condiments, spices.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last $400 you're going to use on your dairy and snacks and stuff like that for the house.
Which is a
And
great
then,
idea.
right, if you divide it that way, it makes it easier.
And that's applicable to any amount you have. It doesn't matter
And
what
you
it
don't
is.
have to be on food stamps. Exactly.
No.
You don't have to
No.
be on food stamps. If you are on a fixed income, or even if you're not on a fixed income, but you want to budget yourself, because say you got your kids' college educations and stuff like that, and you're socking money away.
Right.
You're using this budgeted plan so that way you can keep up and not have to worry. And then even if you're putting money aside for a rainy day, which you should be doing,
Right.
everybody should be doing putting money aside for a rainy day, because you never know what's going to happen,
Right.
and it can hit at any time.
It's the time you least expect it that it usually hits.
Exactly. Exactly.
Blue made a suggestion here.
Mm-hmm.
Put your list in a laminate sheet on your cupboard or doors of appliances. You can mark it with a whiteboard marker, wipe it off when you reset it. And I think that is, if you're one that needs more help with the inventory of what you have and don't have, that's a wonderful idea. And it fits with what Heather told you as well.
Right.
But you can do that in all of your 6 columns. You can put that
Mm-hmm.
system in
Yeah,
play.
because I have a specific cupboard that is specifically for holiday things that are used during the holiday, and they're
Right.
only used at those times. They go in that specific cupboard, and they
Right.
get pulled out when it's time to use them.
Right.
So, yeah.
They're talking about my spinning halo above my head. There, Ashley, it's a fan light. Sorry.
Yeah, it does look like a halo.
That's funny. So I think, it really, don't look at it as, here's what I tend to notice people when we have these conversations.
Mhm.
I don't know if I can do that kind of a thought process, or I don't know how to implement it. Okay. So every third Sunday
Mhm.
is when me and the other two girls are doing the pantry challenge.
Mhm.
We're going to try to introduce a form, whether it's an inventory form, whether it's a checkoff list, whether it's this, that, or the other. Okay.
Mhm.
Or even a budgeting form for specifically pantry items. Okay.
Mhm.
We're going to try to introduce that so that we give resources. And if we don't have it, then we'll give you the link to a resource that would have it.
Mhm. Now, are you doing these so-called pantry challenges where they? I've seen a lot of people on YouTube doing these pantry challenges where they take. They don't go to the grocery store for a month or whatever, and then what they're doing is they're using up what's in their freezers and their refrigerators, stuff that gets left
Right.
behind or whatever. They try to empty it out and get it out so that they can bring in new.
So I'm not that the pantry challenge we're doing is not based on that. Now, that's not to say I know for sure Angela is part of one of those challenges, and
Hmm.
it's what made us the revamp. It's what made us change the way we were doing it, because all three of us really are coming from three different angles, and I'll explain those real quick. Okay.
Okay.
I'm rebuilding my pantry because after the holidays, it got annihilated. Just plain and simple. Okay.
Okay.
Um, with Michelle, which is Big Valley Living, her and her husband are eating different than they used to. So the pantry that they used to have
Hmm.
needs to be revamped to the way that they're eating. Okay.
Right. Right.
Angela is becoming an empty nester. And so when she had a big, huge pantry, she's
Hmm.
having to use everything in it so it doesn't go bad to get it back to the size she needs it. So
Right.
we're all
Right.
coming at it different ways. All three of us are paid differently. So that's
Hmm.
another reason. Okay. And ultimately, when we looked at it,
You could
not
also do, if you're becoming an empty nester, you could also do do a gift basket for and maybe somebody in your area that you know who is struggling.
right,
You
right,
could take some of the stuff that is in your pantry, make them a gift basket. They don't need to know it's from you. Sit it on their porch, ring their doorbell, go on about your business. They don't need to know.
right,
You're just doing it out of the kindness of your heart. You know their situation, you're helping out.
right. And like Dark Lord Menet said, the pantry challenge we're doing is to help you stock your pantry before you do a no shopping pantry challenge, which would enable you to be able to do that because theoretically
Okay.
you have it in place before you do this.
Oh
Okay.
yeah. Okay.
All right. Josh, I'm not sure what you're talking about. I don't see one that's been deleted out. So just go ahead and repost it. And here is one of the situations that does come up for everybody. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Small family to a large family, and some of the family lost their jobs. So you got to do what you got to do. And now all of a sudden instead of 4 people eating, you have 25 people eating. Okay. That's a little drastic. His situation may not be drastic. It may be the reality, but it's the point that then you have to adjust what you're putting out. Okay. You
Yeah, because
also have to take in.
we were a family of 4. It was just me and Carly and Alex Caden, and then
Hmm.
she got with Michael, and then he ended up bringing his daughter in, and then she had Renesmee. So we went from a family of 4 to a family of 7 real quick.
Just like
So
that.
yeah, so I get it. Trying
Right.
to figure out and budget and figure out how you're going to feed all these mouths. What are you going to do? Can you cook every day, or can you do casseroles? How is it going to financially help and benefit you without depleting you?
Right. Well, and ultimately, when you're in a pantry process, okay,
Mm-hmm.
the ideal way it's working is that if I take 2 cans or 2 boxes or 2 packages of something out,
Mm-hmm.
that goes down on a list because on my next shop, then I'm replenishing what I took out, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
also making sure the rotation happens. So going back to what Rena LaRue, first in, first out. Well, if I'm
Mm-hmm.
bringing new stuff in, that means I got to rotate everything, and those items should go back.
Right.
That's perfect world utopia. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Does it happen all that way? No, of course not.
Now
The other,
my issue is I have a long a there I have a working, well, it's kind of like a working pantry and a short term pantry all in one, because I grocery shop in bulk, and I do it monthly. So I don't know how to do how to set up a working pantry where I'm not going in it every day. You know what I mean?
right,
Because of uh, our situation, and because of the budget that we've been dealt with. So
right, right.
I try to do it the best I can. But there have been times where I've had to not go grocery shopping because I've had so much,
Right.
because I was able to get a lot of things on sale and stock up.
Well, one of the things we've fell into, and it's a loophole everybody can fall into, and
Hmm.
here's the reason we're doing our pantry totally restart, is
Hmm.
because as the holidays came, I was like, well, we have to limit the money going out, so let's just use what we got, and I'll get
Hmm.
that later down the road. Well,
Right.
later down the road is now here, and I have empty shelves. So
Ah.
there you go. Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, we all get stuck into that at some point.
Right.
I can
I'll
get it,
get it later. I'll get it later. And then when
and
later
later
gets here,
never
you're like,
comes.
uh-oh.
Yeah. Later comes around, and you're like, why didn't I go get those 4 cans of that? I forgot.
Right.
Um, Evidently, I'm not sure what's going on, but in chat they're talking about YouTube's having comment issues. So I apologize. I can't fix it, so we'll
Right.
just have to deal with it the best we can. All right. What are some of the pitfalls in your situation that you think others might fall into, or you guys have fallen into doing it that way? And here's specifically what I'm talking about, because the theory could be, instead of buying one shop once a month,
Mhm.
couldn't you split, hold on to it, and then 2 weeks after you do your first one, go do another one?
Um, Now, in theory, yes, that would work. Um, but it also depends on the sales. Now, if the
True.
sales are really good, then I will do my bulk shopping for that month.
Right.
But if the sales are not that good, I will do 2 weeks worth of shopping, and then check the sales out 2 weeks later and
Okay.
see. And if the sales are good, then I will restock again.
So your specific situation, you are a sales shopper, and you
Yes.
will reserve if you don't find the sales you're looking for.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
Because
Um,
I have my granddaughter's birthdays are coming up in March,
mhm.
so uh, I have to make sure that I budget carefully, so that way I'm taking care of all the food and everything that's going to be coming in the house. what we're going to be making, and all of that kind of stuff. My
Right.
daughters, I'm doing a princess party for them, so everything's going to be finger foods. So and dips and stuff like that, and then there's the fruit tray and the veggie tray. So and I have to make sure that it's budgeted carefully because fruit is not cheap.
No, it's not.
It's not cheap at all. Veggies are. Fruit.
Oh, and everybody be on the watch out. Eggs are going back up again.
Seriously?
Mm-hmm.
See, this is why I need my chicken so I can name it Mother Clucker. I need my chicken so I can get my eggs.
Yes. Anyways, I just wanted to throw that out there. We've been watching it, so
Yeah.
Walmart's
so, prices have gone up, and the eggs at the Sam's Club, they're if to get the cage free eggs, they're like $7 and some odd cents. I
for
can
how
get
many?
Big, for 18. $7
Wow.
and change for 18.
Wow.
Yeah, and I can get the big one from Walmart of 60.
See you later, Josh.
Like, I think last month it was $9 and some change.
It's went up to 13 something. At least here, it's 13.48 for 60 right now.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, point being is that you do find yourself in a situation, and it doesn't mean if you can do it, and again, with a stocked pantry, you can do it. The whole drive of what we're talking about, Night Ashley.
And people need to understand, stop buying brand name.
We don't.
I like Great Value, and Great Value is just as good, if not. Sometimes I think it's better.
Okay, so some of the so there's a couple things that go with what you just said. Okay,
right.
80% of the time, if you're buying a store brand name, it's the same item that is made in the name brand, except it's packaged differently through a contract.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
Making it for. Okay,
that's what I mean.
A percentage of the time, most percentage of the time. There's only three things that we don't buy brand name. Okay, or we do buy brand name. Mayonnaise.
Yes.
Miracle Whip.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes. Miracle Whip and mayonnaise. Yes.
What did you say? Just out of curiosity. Ours is Best Foods because of where we live, but it's the same product.
But you know what? I heard Best Foods and Hellman's are the same thing.
They are the same product. West Side gets Best Foods. Your side gets Hellman's, but it's the same product. Okay. So that's one thing. Usually coffee is brand name because the store brand does not taste the same. Okay.
No, it does not. I have to have my Maxwell House.
And I don't even really care what it is, as long as it's U-Band, Maxwell House, Folgers, something like that.
Right. Exactly.
We pay the difference for that because of flavor. Okay.
Right.
And it's the same thing with the Best Foods or the Hellman's. It's the same exact reason. It's because it just tastes different.
And with my grandkids, it has to be branded cereal.
Right.
I have tried getting the generic, and they're just no.
The only other thing that we're specific on a site, and we're just talking food items, okay?
Yes.
The only other thing is the bread that's not homemade, because my kids don't like homemade bread. Okay. Don't even get me started. There's a specific bread that we do buy for them for their sandwiches because they will eat them. It's just.
Have you tried sourdough, homemade sourdough bread?
No, that's one of the things I would like to go into, but my kids don't like sourdough bread, period. So I'm not sure that I would get that to sell over. Anyways, doesn't matter. Point being, Rebecca, you are correct for most people. My two, it would never work because they can taste the difference. So,
my grandkids are the same way. They can taste the difference on specific things.
Now, peanut butter, jelly, butter, milk, creamer. I don't even care what it is.
Exactly.
All those other things we can buy non-brand name, and they're fine. They
Right.
suffice just okay.
Mm-hmm.
But look at what your cost is going out. That's the ultimate thing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And here's where my example, why that is an example, is important for us to have a discussion. Because, excuse me, we had talked about, me and you had talked about on the phone before we went live tonight.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I want to stress is that if you do a food pantry challenge for yourself to build your pantry up, it doesn't have to be dollar amounts. It could be, I'm getting 2 extra bags of rice this payday,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm getting 2 cans of this, or I'm getting 2 boxes of that, or 2
Mm-hmm.
box packages of this. It can be that just as well to rebuild that pantry up. Okay.
Right.
And we had specifically talked about going to a dollar store, Dollar General, Dollar Tree, whatever the dollar is in your area.
Oh yeah, Dollar Tree and
Because
Dollar
you do
General.
that.
That's my jam.
No, and I get that.
Uh-huh.
But one thing I do want to specify and stress, though, is
Mm-hmm.
watch what you're getting. Here's the example. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
For $1.25, I can go get a bag of rice, but it's not a pound of rice, it's 12 ounces of rice.
Right.
So if I went and if I do it by the ounces, am I getting the same deal if I had just spent the $1.68 over at Walmart for the
Mm-hmm.
pound versus 12 ounces at $1.25?
Right.
So you do want to be conscious of that, but it doesn't mean you still can't do what you're talking about.
Right.
You know,
Right.
because it's not everything. It's not,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not all the time. It's just, you just got to be conscious of it. You know, try to
Oh yeah.
find the best deal wherever it's at.
Yeah,
It
you're
doesn't
not going to get a 15-ounce can. You'll probably get 12 ounces or
Right.
somewhere around
Right.
there. So, and that's where they get you.
Yes, it is. It is.
So,
But if you only got $1.25, then so be
it's
it.
going to work out.
Yes, you know, you got to do what fits what you can do, and it's got to be
Right.
something that you're comfortable with, but don't make sure you're not cutting your own throat in the process. That's all I'm trying to say.
Exactly.
Okay?
Because you don't want to put out more money thinking that you're saving. You're not saving. All you're doing is you're spending more money when you could have, like you said, was spent that
Right.
$1.68 to get 16 ounces of rice or a pound of rice versus paying $2.50 and getting 2 12-ounce bags of
Right.
rice.
Right. You know, because you would have spent more to just get the 1 pound if you had
Exactly.
just done it that way. Yeah. So
Exactly.
yes, there's things that work to your benefit. There's things that don't. Just be
Yes.
cautious of it. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm
Mhm.
not sponsored by any of these companies were mentioned.
Oh no.
Neither is Stephanie. It's just being real about it. Yes,
Mhm.
some places have better deals than others. Some places you get more. Some
Mhm.
places you don't. I would also throw in there Winco, Shopco, or not Shopco, Costco, Sam's
Mhm.
Club, all of those. If you can get a better deal at
Mhm.
them, then by all means shop at them, you know?
Yeah, like because when I did my budgeting video, I talked about there was a good sale on pasta.
Right.
It was like 98 cents a box, and I
Mm-hmm.
stocked up on elbow, penne, lasagna, the big jumbo shells and stuff. I stocked up, and
Right.
the last time I did that, I didn't have to buy pasta for almost 4 or 5 months.
But see, that's the whole point of the pantry thing. Okay.
Mhm.
Especially if you're not utilizing it. I mean, it makes it less that you're having to put out. But
Right.
in those times when you don't have the extra to build
Mhm.
or add to or go out and buy, you have
Mhm.
4 or 5 months of pasta you don't have to worry about and concentrate on canned foods
Right. So I
or
used that
other
money
items.
that I
Yeah.
spent on the pasta, and I spent like $10-15 on pasta. Now I can use that $10-15 or a little bit more to spend on let's say the next sale is tomato sauce.
Right.
Because we make our own spaghetti sauce. So I stock up on tomato sauce, diced tomatoes, stewed tomatoes, all that kind of stuff. So
Right.
I stock up on that, and then once I get all stocked up, I'm good for the next 4 to 5 months, and then I can move that money that I spent onto another onto other items.
Right. This and Dark Lord Minute brings up a good point here. You got to do the math. Okay, 2 blocks of cheese, 18 ounce, $2.99, 32 ounce block of cheese, $4.50. Which do you buy? Well, when you put the math together, it's $6 for 36 ounces or $4.50 for 32.
Mm-hmm.
It's 4 ounces of cheese difference, but do you spend the extra money for it? And
yeah,
you know,
see, at our Walmart, it is $7 and some change for a 32-ounce block of cheese. And I usually get Monterey Jack, white cheddar, mild cheddar, mozzarella, and I think that's it. And every once in a while, I'll get pepper jack. Depends on what I'm when, especially in the summertime when I do my and I get Swiss too. Swiss doesn't come in a 32-ounce block that I know of. That usually comes sliced, but that's usually when in the summertime when I make my mushroom Swiss burgers. So
you only make those in the summer. We make those year round.
well,
I utilize my grill quite honestly, and it's a year round.
yeah, see, that's what we want to do because like I had told them in my video, in my budgeting video, I said my grandkids have gotten to the point where they're tired of casseroles now.
Yes.
So I had to go to being in the kitchen every day, all day. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Right.
I'm in the kitchen from the time I get up till it's almost time for me to go to bed. But you know what? I don't mind it. That's my family.
Right. That's the sacrifice you make for them to be happy.
Yes.
I get that. So
my next video is going to be showing them how I meal plan.
And that's Ashley had said that earlier. And I wish I would have put it up, but I didn't. He said him and his wife, because it's just the two of them, don't meal plan, and they're probably losing money. Odds are you probably are.
It is so much easier to meal plan because if you Mondays, this is the way I do it. Mondays is cinnamon roll days. So what I do is I make all my cinnamon rolls. If there's 4 weeks in a month, I'm making all my cinnamon rolls on Sunday for that month.
Right.
And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bake the one up that I'm going to have that Monday. The other ones are going to go in the freezer. You're not going to bake them. You'll put them in the freezer, let them freeze them up, and then the night before pull them out. The next morning, pop them in the oven, make your icing. You're good to go.
Right.
The other days I do there's pancakes on Tuesdays, French toast on Wednesdays, eggs, toast, and fruit and other stuff that we add to it. We do it that way. And then for lunches, we do something that's only going to take at least a half an hour in the kitchen.
Right.
Because when you're busy, you don't have a lot of time, especially if you're homeschooling your kids, because we're homeschooling our kids here. So I need to make sure that I'm in and out of the kitchen within a half an hour.
Yep, I get it.
To get them fed and to get them back into class so that way we can finish up. And then dinner time, they're usually done with all their classes. So dinner time is usually, I try to have everything done within 30 minutes to 45 minutes to an hour. I try to make sure that everything is hot and ready and on the table so everybody can sit down and eat.
Right. And that's great.
So budget planning, as long as you know what you're preparing. And another thing is when you're doing your meal planning, you want to make sure that you want to use try and make sure that you're using the same thing, like onions, peppers, carrots and stuff like that, celery stuff. All of that is going in your meals almost all the time. Right. So that way that's saving you there too.
Right. Suburban Hillbilly does bring up a good point. Everybody talks about food fatigue, but there is cooking fatigue too. And, you got to try to figure out how to budget that out so that you're not becoming overwhelmed. And it does feel like it's just a chore,
Yeah.
And I know all of us do it. I mean, I'm not trying to say anybody's exempt from it, because even I, as much as I like cooking, at some point I get tired of doing it all the time, you know? but then I usually reset, and it's not a big deal,
Right.
So, um, so what would be a suggestion you could throw out if they're looking to pantry stock for the first time?
Okay, for pantry stocking for the first time, the first thing you want to do is you want to look at your flyers.
Yeah.
You want to look at your flyers and you want to compare prices. And then once you've got your prices together and everything like that, this is what I do is I shop from furthest away and then I work my way back home.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, once I hit the last store, I know I'm 10, 15 minutes away from home. Everything's going in the door in the house.
Right.
I always do that. I've always done furthest away and work my way home.
Yeah.
So that's what I do. But yeah, you want to pay attention to the flyers and wherever it is the cheapest. I don't care if it's like 4 cents cheaper. It still adds up.
Right.
Everything adds up.
And especially the way you do it, going the furthest and then working your way back.
Mm-hmm.
If you wait, instead of getting it at the first store, which is 4 cents more expensive, and you wait to come hit the last store along the way,
Right.
You're not spending additional gas to go out
Exactly.
to get it and then come back.
And then you also need to budget. You need to budget. Now, people who let's say people who are on I'm on disability. So I have a thing called shared ride
Mm-hmm.
that they do here. And now the thing is I have to pay $2 and some change for them to take me to my store that I want to go to. But the only difference is with shared ride, you're only allowed to shop what you can carry because they will not carry your groceries for you.
Which makes sense.
Right. So you can only buy what you can carry to your door.
Mm-hmm.
So now if you have friends that are willing to take you, you need to make sure you're budgeting in gas money.
Right.
Because nobody does anything for free.
They don't.
No, they sure don't. And then you also have to make sure that you have someone as a backup.
Yes.
Because a lot of people will tell you, oh, yeah, I'll take you. And then at the last minute, just as you're getting yourself together and ready to go out the door, they call you and be like, I can't do it.
Right. Yep.
I
think Rena LaRue makes a good point when she's meal planning. Ask for suggestions on what I want. Keeps me from getting into the rut. Also incorporate meals that they can either cook or at least help with.
Yes, that's what we do here. We ask the kids, what did you like that grandma made, or what did you like that mommy made, or what did you like that daddy made? And then we write down what they like, what they're willing to eat. The 2-year-olds, they don't care. Whatever you put in front of them, they
put a plate in front of me. Right.
They inhale it. But we've got Alex. He's 5. He's extremely picky about certain things.
Right.
And Caden, he's 10. He's kind of getting out of the picky stage, but there are some things that he likes and some things that he doesn't. So.
Right.
And then you also have to be mindful of the other adults in the house too.
Right.
You know, what they want and what they like, or what hasn't been on the dinner table in a while that they like and would like to see on the dinner table again. So that way you're budgeting all that in.
Right. So the other thing that goes along with that as well is it gives you a rotation.
Right.
It gives you an ongoing rotation of different things. And just because you erase it off of 1 month of meal planning, don't get rid of it. Save those. Because it'll give you something to go back and fall onto if
See, I have a planner, so I put everything in my planner when I'm doing breakfast, lunch, and dinners. So that way I can go back and say, okay, well, we haven't done this in like 3 or 4 months, so let's do this again.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Keep that. So there was something I was going to say something, but I can't remember what it was now. I think the important thing is, though, and the note I want to make is that you can start at any time.
Right. You can start at any time.
Right.
The only thing you have to be mindful of is your budget.
It's your budget and space. Let's be honest.
Right. You have to have the space to put what you're bringing into your home.
Right. Now, that is not to say, okay, so what we're referring to, just for clarification, okay? If you go to Costco and you bring home 25 packages of 36 rolls of toilet paper, I hope the heck you have somewhere to put that. Okay. I'm just using it as example because
Yeah,
it's a visual you get. Okay.
Yeah.
Or 10 cases of top ramen. Where are you going to put that?
Right.
I don't care how much of a sale it was.
That's a lot of top ramen.
I'm just throwing it out as an example.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. If you don't have anywhere to put it, then what are you going to do?
It's not benefiting you.
It's not benefiting you because now you've just cluttered up your area. And are you literally and really going to use that in X number of time, whatever that is? Okay.
I always told my daughter, I said, we need an extra bedroom because we have a 4-bedroom.
Right.
I told her we need an extra bedroom and we need to turn that bedroom into the biggest pantry ever. And she's like, Mom, really?
but I and it baffles me. I've seen it before. Okay. People building a pantry, then stocking it with $5,000 worth of food, and then this, and then this, and it's like.
And most of the time, they're not using it, and all the stuff is getting expired and going to waste.
Exactly. You know, to me, I get the idea of, say, 25-year SHTF kind of mode. I get that, but you have containers to put those in usually. Okay.
Right.
They're not going to go bad either. You're going to keep them. They're shelf stable for 25 years. I don't have a problem with that. But don't go out and buy 4 cases of green beans and think you're going to get through them unless you guys eat a lot of green beans.
Exactly.
You're not going to get through those before they expire. Now,
that's why I try to instill in people, buy what you use daily.
Not only use daily, but what your family will eat. Because if they don't eat green beans, just because you know good to buy,
doesn't mean your kids are going to eat them.
No. And now you've created a problem of backlog and space. Because one thing I am here to tell everybody, pantry space is a hot commodity that is very expensive to rent out. Okay.
See, because we have, my daughter had, it was, I think it was a food bank, and they kept giving her, regular syrup. My grandkids, they don't like it. They like the diabetic syrup. Because it's too sweet to them.
Right.
And they like the sugar-free better. And if I put the regular syrup on their food, they'll take a bite of it and then they won't touch it after that.
That's the way my son is. He'll take a bite of it and you're like, whoa.
Right. Yeah. So and I'm stuck with 8 bottles of this sugar loaded syrup, and I don't use it.
And the crappy part about that is because my obvious thing would be, well, what else can I use it in? But maple syrup is not usually something you can use in a lot of things. Yeah,
see, this isn't maple syrup. This is just regular syrup.
Well, sir, I'm not saying maple syrup I'm just saying a breakfast syrup. That's what I meant to say.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. But I mean, and then you don't use it anyways because it's non-diabetic. So why would I get your point? I do get your point, you know. And taste buds, they change constantly, guys.
Yes, they do.
And when they change,
there's a lot of things that my grandsons didn't like, and now they can't get enough of it.
Right. And our kids are the same way. Yeah. Live beans and rice dishes. Oh, love. It was a mistype. We happen to love beans and rice dishes, but why buy it if you don't care for it? No, I agree with it 100%.
See, my grandkids, they do not like rice at all.
My family
None of
was anti-rice
them.
until about 6 months ago. Now they all love it, crave it, and want it. And it's like,
Mhm.
where did this just pop up out of the blue?
Now, the only way Isabella, she will eat it, but only if you take milk and a little bit of sugar,
Right.
and
Right.
with some butter, and she'll eat it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the only way she'll eat it. You put it in anything else, she won't touch it.
And such a good filler when you're trying to make
It is, but that's
out.
the hard thing, because some of the casseroles call for rice, and my kids are just like, no.
Right. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would do is encourage anybody this, okay? If you're interested in starting a pantry, just keep watching us, because I would like to carry this conversation on again. Excuse me.
And I will gladly come back.
And that's wonderful. Maybe we'll alternate this whatever week. I think this is week 4 in the month. Maybe on the 4th week we'll come back and have this conversation and just recur the information.
Okay.
But I think, perspective. It really is about perspective. Your perspective is different than my perspective, in the sense of we come from different money's coming in, space available.
Everybody's budget is different, so everybody's pantry is going to be different.
Yes, I agree with that. And hearing that there are different ways, and especially the chat talking the way they do, it helps give other alternate thought processes, and that's what we're after. So
and I got a couple of good ideas as to what to do with my freezer, so that way I can keep a better inventory and of appliances and things like that. So yeah.
Food they won't eat. Yeah, and that's, you can't. I guess my biggest takeaway for anybody is don't buy anything your family's not going to eat, because it's a waste of money for you.
It's a waste of money and a waste of time, because it's just
a waste of time.
Go to waste.
Right. And there's that real estate being used, and nobody's paying rent for it. That's the way I live. So anything else you'd like to throw in before we go?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
Well, yeah. The working pantry. I'm
glad you brought that up, because I did want to talk about that. Go ahead.
Yeah, the working pantry is that's this. I'm trying to figure out, is that the same thing as the short-term pantry?
So a working pantry, and which I should have titled the cupboard different. Your cupboard is implied to be your working pantry, and what you take
something
from
you're day in and day out.
Day in and day out, but your short-term pantry can be attached to that in theory. Okay. So if you have 4 cans of raviolis, we'll just throw that out there, and it's in the cupboard, which we're going to call the working pantry. Okay. Because you're using it every day. You pull those out, you're going to your short-term pantry to replenish that. But now your short-term pantry needs to be refilled. Okay. Now, do you get that from the long-term pantry? If you have it, yes, you do. If you don't, you're going to have to go back out to the store when you go buy and replenish it. So it's a constant move. It's an ever evolving.
Okay, so all the pantries are constantly moving.
They're constantly moving between current day and 18 months. That's theoretically what it would be. Okay. Now, in your long-term pantry, that's where you could have
close to being expired. You want to pull that out of your long-term pantry and put that in your working pantry or in your short-term pantry so that it gets used up?
I would say, generally speaking, at 12 months for something that's good for 18 months, it should be in your short-term pantry, if not working pantry.
Okay.
So that it's accessible and you're utilizing it. Okay. But then that also means I'm pulling it out of those other places. I got to replenish that.
Right.
Especially if it's a staple. If it's a staple, you want to make sure you have that in place.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And that's basically the theory behind it, though. Your refrigerator works the same way. Your freezer works the same way. The use of the appliances works the same way because,
Right.
and here's a good example. Apple butter is something that we were trying to do every 2 years. We've missed a year, so we got to make it still. But that's something I do on a rotation of years. Okay.
I want to make apple butter.
It's so easy. It's easy. When you have apples, you let me know and I'll walk you through it because it is so easy.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyways, the whole point I'm trying to say is that you do have some in canning reference. You have things that you do or will create a rotation. Okay. Like your proteins. You'll have, okay, I got X number. Here's ultimately where all this comes down to. Okay. If you're doing an inventory of your canned items, which are part of your pantry system, okay,
right,
and you know how much you're going to use, let's say that you know your family will use 36 jars of canned chicken in a year's time. You know, at the end of that year, you've got to replenish that 36 jars again because you know it's going to be used.
Right.
Is that to say that you actually won't have 4 left over from the year before, or you're short a month earlier than you expect? That doesn't mean that's not going to happen, but you already got it in your brain that, okay, next month I got chicken to do, or I can hold off a month because I've got 8 extra cans we haven't used yet. It all plays.
Now, I have an issue with canned foods, especially like potatoes and carrots and peas and corn. My family doesn't like the canned. They like the frozen.
Then don't get them. There's no reason to do that. If they're not going to eat it, it's just like we're talking about going to the store and buying canned carrots. If they don't like canned carrots and won't eat them, don't buy them. Well, canned food's the same way.
They like frozen or they like fresh.
And there's some foods that are like that.
Right.
Spend your money and your energy on something they will eat.
Right.
That's the reality of it. Okay.
Yes.
See, this isn't about all of us teaching somebody else. It's us learning as well.
Right. Exactly.
So that's the benefit of this Sunday chat, is trying to help each other out. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And I appreciate all the information I'm getting.
Hopefully it's enough for you.
Oh, yeah, it is.
All right, guys. We're at our hour. I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye. Thank you for coming in. Appreciate everybody that's in here. Thank you for coming up, Stephanie. Appreciate you. Appreciate mods. Hello, Annette. Thank you for showing up. We're just getting ready to close out, but nice to see you. And we'll revisit this again. I will have you back. We will have this conversation some more.
And I am looking forward to it. And I will let you know how I am redoing my pantry, because there are some things that I want to move out and, it needs readjusted, because there's a lot of things that I have that is not going out and getting used.
If it's not going out and getting used, then donate it to somebody before it expires.
Exactly. That's what I want to do.
Yeah,
that's what I would do. Get it out and get it sent to someone that I know can use it and is in need of it.
And that's the way to do it. Reality. So it's better for somebody to get a benefit out of it than it is you to have to throw it away because it's 2 months expired. Exactly. Doesn't do anybody any good at that point.
No, it's not helping anybody at all.
And that is another thing. Be careful of expiration is different than best by date. Just so everybody remembers that.
Right. I have heard that. Just best by means best by date means that it is best by that specific date.
Doesn't mean it's expired.
It doesn't mean that it's expired. No.
Right. There's an expiration date if there's a best by date.
Right. And usually most canned things are usually good 2 to 3 years before you have to.
They've changed that a little, but me and you sitting here talking, yes, I agree with you. The store will tell you 18 months at best. So
no, it's 2 to 3 years.
You do what you want to. Okay?
Exactly. It's good. 2 to 3 years.
All right, guys. Have a good night. We'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.